Mr. Cenz, hi. So we're in the in Bar 31 in Shangri-La, and you've done some pretty impressive portraits in this bar. In fact, they can be seen all over, on the approach to the Shad. So tell me something about the work you've done here.
Okay, so I've got 5 canvases here from my studio on display above the bar, and then I've got this huge piece here, which I painted during the launch week, and I did that live over 4 evenings. And basically, the portrait is of a lady who works here at the Shard. Basically, they did the Shangri-La did a competition in house to be the face of the portrait, and I had to choose the winner. So this young lady here is actually the PA to the manager, so she sees it every day.
It's pretty noticeable, isn't it? As soon as you walk up that road down there, it's the first thing you see. You don't see the Shard, you don't see the big tall building, you see that?
Yeah, no, it's a good spot, man. Yeah, definitely. It looks great.
She must love it when she's coming here.
Yeah, exactly. It's her hotel now, so yeah. She owns the place.
So can you tell me something about your style? I mean, it's so colourful, it's vibrant, it pops out. Usually, it's recognisable on the streets. You do a lot on the streets. Can you tell me something about it?
My style is something which I've kind of developed over the years. So it just kind of happened organically, So I feel very blessed that I've got a unique style now. But it's many years of work to get there, basically. But the kind of essence and the beginnings of my portraits are just a photograph, really. That's all I have. Everything else is freestyle and spontaneous. So I just have the image, and then I kind of adapt to the space. So all the shapes, all the colours, how I break down the face, that's all done freestyle. That's all done spontaneously. So with no pre-plan.
And where would you get the images from? How do you choose who you're going to
So I work with certain photographers. So like for this particular one here, my friend came, who's a photographer, really good photographer, came and did a photo shoot with the young lady. So I work with certain photographers I know. Sometimes I just license images, from photographers. So, but the image is the most important thing. That's the first reference. So I work from a lot of kind of fashion photographs, but it's all about the lighting in the photograph. Which gives me the kind of inspiration,
So how the photograph looks, you think actually, you just have a vision in your mind, and you think that's going to look good on that particular wall.
Yeah, I just know straight away from looking. So it's all about the kind of the pose, the models in, the shapes in the cheeks, this kind of thing. So and where the highlights are on the face. So I can tell straight away whether I can make that into a unique piece.
So the real details, real nuances you're looking at there in terms of each particular photograph.
Yeah. So, and that, I can just break it down in my head, basically. So, that's what I do. It kind of ends up being like a kind of drug-fueled, kind of psychedelic version of the original image, So, yeah.
So looking at this piece here, there's so much going on. There's the face that's absolutely recognisable, but in the background, there's shapes, there's colours, how do you go about doing all that? Do you plan it out in your mind beforehand, or?
No. As I say, it's all completely freestyle. So nothing's planned. So, to be honest with you, with my work, it's not just about the portrait. So the background and the abstract kind of bit of it is just as important, really. So, deep down, I love abstract art, so that's a passion of mine. So I used to do a lot of abstract painting. So you can probably see that in the shapes. But I want people to look beyond the face, really. So
you can lose yourself for hours in some of that. What's going on.
That's the whole idea. It's, every time you look at it, you see something different, or it's completely open to individual interpretation. Some people might see, building. Some people might see something completely different. So that's what my work's all about. I love that. There's nothing. I used to hate, paintings which, it's just a painting of a dog or a woman and that's it. There's nothing, no other depth to it, no other layers to it. So that's what I've always tried to create with my work. So every time you see it, it's different.
And does it have a nod to your background in graffiti? This style, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. So that's still a primary influence. Definitely from the use of colour, so like the contrasting colours, the bright fluorescent colours, you know, like using kind of oranges and pinks together. It just doesn't normally work, but it's something that a lot of old school graffiti artists used to use, you know, because you didn't, you know, it was whatever paint you could get hold of. So you used to throw all kinds of colours together. So I still do that a lot. And then basically all the shapes are kind of, you can see graffiti letter forms in the shapes, especially you know, in the kind of cheeks and stuff. They're almost like kind of bits of letters. Also some of the effects as well, lots of the little flares are kind of classic graffiti effects, you know, like, so yeah, it's a big influence still.
So you honed your style on the streets basically, didn't you? That's how you got to be as fluid as you are today.
Yeah, I mean, that's still the best place to learn, you know. So so I've been messing around with spray paints since I was 8 years old. So I learned all of the skills, you know, over the years, just doing stuff on the streets. Really, I mean, I did go to art college after school, but you know, Dad didn't teach me how to spray paint and how to do what I'm doing now. It was just getting out there and doing it, basically.
Do you remember that first memory? Do you remember that first memory when you thought, actually, you know what, this is what I want to do now. I want to be an artist. I want to. This is just what I'm going to do. You say it was 8 years old. You were first hanging out with spray paints.
Yeah, that's when I was first kind of experimenting. But I was younger than that. I think I was maybe 7 years old. I think it was 1982 when the kind of graffiti art Bible came out, which is what it's called now, but it was the kind of main influence for a lot of people in this country and in Europe. So it was a book of all the New York subway trains which came over from America by Henry Chaffon and Martha Cooper. So that, along with the kind of music I was listening, the new hip-hop music which I was listening to on Capital Radio, Mike Allen did the show on a Saturday night. So the whole culture, the whole hip-hop culture kind of blew my mind, and seeing those pieces on those trains was it really for me, you know. But before that I was into art anyway, but I just hadn't really found my kind of niche, you know, so I wasn't really into traditional art. I was kind of just scribbling and stuff like that, and once I found graffiti I was like, that's it, that's my thing.
You seem to be part of a generation then that is sort of led the way, if you like, on bringing graffiti art to UK, because that book was seminal. Speak to a lot of artists, a lot of people influenced, you know, by that. And experimenting with stuff.
Yeah.
What, did you feel that at the time? Were you part of a movement? Did you think that was what you were doing?
I didn't really feel that I was. Yeah, I suppose I did. I mean, I was kind of locally. There was a lot of graffiti artists, you know, locally in my kind of local area, you know. So I didn't feel like I was part of something huge. I never imagined it was be as big as it is now. I'm still, you know, sometimes I'm like, wow, you know, I get to travel the world and paint. I never thought that would happen. So I didn't realise it was going to be as big as it's become. That's the biggest art form on the planet. You know what I mean? So I suppose I wasn't aware of that. Really.
And I don't suppose you can you? I mean, what was going through your mind at the time? You know, when you were sort of maybe there in the, you know, well, sort of mid to late 80s, 90s, perhaps, just sort of. What were you doing, and why were you doing it?
Yeah, so that was the kind of illegal tagging days. So we were all getting together and just kind of bombing things, and yeah, so we weren't really doing many full colour pieces. We were just out kind of tagging and hanging out as friends, and you know, so it was more of a kind of social thing back then.
And was it, and that link between the hip hop culture as well? Was that important? Was this sort of the vibe, the atmosphere, the environment, really sort of music, art combined?
Yeah. Because as I say, you know, you didn't have graffiti art without hip hop back then. It was all one thing. So the two, you know, inseparable. So you know, it was all, yeah, it was just all part of it. It was new, it was vibrant, it was, you know, it was inclusive. Anyone could be involved in the culture. It was great. You know. So.
And what would you do now? How did you move from that sort of more the graffiti scene into what you're doing now, which is, you know, abstract portraiture to some extent?
Well, so, you know, as I say, before I kind of discovered graffiti, I was looking at other art anyway. Both my parents were into art, so I used to go to kind of galleries and stuff. They used to take me into London and stuff, so I was exposed to other art forms before graffiti. So I kind of So I got kicked out of school, but I got just enough GCSEs, things like 3 I needed to get to art college. So, you know, I wanted to be an artist, so I went to art college, and obviously there I was experimenting with different things like printmaking and painting, you know, actual kind of traditional painting. So I kind of started merging the graffiti with the confined art, even back then. It's quite early on, so just doing more abstract stuff, just, you know, so. And then I had a kind of love for abstract painting, so I spent a few years just doing a lot of painting, and not actually using that much spray paint.
And that'd be just sort of with acrylics and just...
Yeah, just acrylics, just on canvas, yeah. And, you know, away from college, I'd been arrested quite a few times, so I kind of needed to give the graffiti a bit of a break, because otherwise I was going to get in a lot of trouble.
Was it painting trains and things like that? Was
yeah,
it
so I've got arrested many times, so it's kind of like, I was told, you know, well, you've got to just give it a break, so that's when I just started experimenting at college. So, and then, so that was, a good few years of just trying out different things, and that's really important in what I do now. So, and then I just started getting back into the graffiti again about 10 years later, and then I just started merging everything together. And then here we are now, really. Yeah. So, which is a combination of all of those experiences.
So you've done your graffiti miles, haven't you, really? You've done that sort of, you've got those miles on the clock.
Yeah.
What do you, if you think back now to those days, is there any advice that you'd give to your sort of younger self? You think?
Any advice?
Yeah, to your younger self.
My advice would be make sure you carry a camera around with you.
Take the pictures of the pieces, right? I bet you've done loads that you haven't photographed.
I haven't got any photographs of any of my trains, any of my stuff like that. So, no, back then if you carried a camera, you were seen as like an undercover and something like that. Everyone was really paranoid. People didn't take photographs. So, you know, you just had to throw away cameras, which you only use at special occasions. If you were out bombing with a group of people and someone pulled out a disposable camera, everyone would be like, whoa, you know, you just didn't do it. So, so I didn't get, and the few photographs I had like a photo album, and obviously there's no digital copies. And I lent it to someone years ago, and they disappeared. So I don't have anything.
You can't see me.
I just have my memories.
You
know, so that would be that.
That is really good advice to you.
I would love to. Well, we don't have to worry about that in this day and age because bloody photographs everywhere. But that really annoys me still. Like, oh man.
What were you painting? What was your?
I was just doing letters. So, but you know, I wasn't doing characters at all. I was just doing lettering. But I was still really into doing full colour kind of pieces.
Was it in particular? Was it like Cenz? Was it what your name now is?
No. I used to write similar. I used to write Cenz, but I used to spell it Cence, and then it's developed into Cenz over the years. So, yeah. So that was my tag back in the day.
What was the reason for the tag? Just because it looked good together, or
just because you know, it wasn't really. There's no real meaning normally behind a tag. Just if it writes nicely, the letters go well together. Yeah.
Sounds great. Mr. Cenz, thanks so much.
Cool.